everybody, I'm Claire Bryant. I'm the first of your 3 bite-sized bits of information for the marketing bite-sized area. So my presentation today is my top 10 key reasons why your business should be using social media. Now, there's hundreds of reasons, literally hundreds of reasons why you should be using it, but I've got 15 minutes and I'm really conscious and paranoid I don't babble on and go on through it. So I've kind of chosen my top 10 reasons that I think you'll also get a bit out of as well when you're going through your social media and putting them together, in particular with the current circumstances. So first of all, a bit about me. Obviously the photos pre-pandemic and pre-lockdown. Probably need to get an updated one, but I originally trained as a multimedia designer in graphic and web design, which makes me a pretty unique marketer. And you know, that means so things like with social media, I've had really good insight and really understanding, and it's particularly when it comes to creativity, which is important as we go along. I've been really blessed. I've had an amazing 20 years. It doesn't look like it, does it? Amazing 20 years in senior marketing positions. I was at Newmarket Racehorses for nearly 10 years. And then went on to Marshall Aerospace and Defence in Cambridge. So I've been around the block, but that again, because of that, and because I've been in so many different industries, I can really relate social media to, it works for everybody. It really does work for everybody. I'm a multi-channel marketer with a passion for online marketing. And again, what this means is I've never specialised in one field. I've always made broad across all channels, purely because in the senior positions I've had, it's helped me along. And I've been able to, again, see how social media is rooted into the wider marketing strategies. And this week, I was very honoured. I am now an MCIM marketer, which means I'm recognised by the Chartered Institute as someone with qualifications and experience that they approve of. And then last but not least on this bit, I'm supporting freelancers in the region. And the reason I point this out is, in particular for sole traders and quite often people think they can only have an in-house marketer or have an agency. And the reason, there's people like me, consultants in the middle, that can help you out. You know, we're a bit like the A-team. We can collaborate and we can, you know, sort of upscale for projects, or you can just have us individually. But, you know, we are quite cost effective and usually quite talented people. So sometimes it's worth speaking to us and seeing what's going on, or whether we can help you out. But there are also times and places for having an in-house marketer and for having agencies. So anyway, right, enough, and we'll babble on and get on with the first one. So, is that gone? There we go. Right, first up, you will connect with customers. Now, this is quite important. Customers are looking to social media to connect with you. So no matter your business, just be there with a consistent approach to content, as I bet your competitors are. And it's a guaranteed win because you'll also gain mass exposure for your brand. So I quite often have people come into me all the time saying social media isn't for them, it doesn't work for them, etc., etc. Social media works for every business, but you have to be consistent and persistent and have good content. There has to be a strategy behind it, because people these days, our nature is to go on social media and see what a business is doing or what brands are doing. We like brands that, you know, resonate with us. So it's really important that, you know, you go on there and you are consistent and persistent. They're the key words with social media. Secondly, you will increase recognition. You'll do nothing but increase it. Social media is a great way to increase your brand recognition. Your platforms are the perfect place to get people familiar with your company and purpose. Seeing a logo in a tagline over and over is a strategy within itself. When people see or hear it, they are immediately reminded of your product or service. So here you just got to think about the likes of Cadbury's, Volvo, British Airways. You may never have bought a Volvo. You may never have flown with British Airways. However, you know what Volvo looks like. You know what they sell, you know what their principles are. And same with British Airways, you know what their logo is, you know what they sell, and you know what their fundamental, you know, sort of the ethos are. So it's the same thing applying to yourself. You know, the more you do it, the better. So number 3 is customer behavior is driven mostly by what others have to say about your business. And again, apply this to yourself. Once you build your online presence, look for followers that are engaging and supportive. A brand advocate will like, share, and comment on your posts. More importantly, they personally recommend your product or service to others, which is far more impactful than you telling everybody how good you are. You really must champion these people. You talk to them, you comment, you thank them. If you can, send them a little gift, because they're saving you money and they're saving you time because they're doing your job for you. So absolutely another key reason why social media is a winner. You can improve customer retention. So the open communication and convenience of social media is extremely key in building deeper relationships with your clients. When people have an opportunity to connect with you or to provide feedback, it makes them feel like they have a voice. And when you respond in a prompt and professional manner, you boost customer loyalty, which means better client retention. So on a wider marketing strategy, you always want to retain clients because it's cheaper going out and finding new clients. So again, it's a bit of a no-brainer, and social media supports this strategy. So again, client retention, key on social media, because you're communicating with them and you're engaging them with you, your brand, your products, services. So number 5, social media is said to be the primary source for generating e-commerce traffic. Now, I 100% know this is true because I've seen it happen. I've seen the difference between, what we call a brochure site, which is just when you're publicising services, and then an e-commerce site when you're purchasing on a website. Social media is always up there as a key source of driving traffic into the website. Social media also leads ahead of traditional media in driving traffic because of the nature of being able to click through quickly, and it's more cost effective than digital advertising like PPC. And I'll come on to this a bit more later on. It also provides an opportunity to capture people's details with Contact Us and newsletters. You can create click-through opportunities on social media by sharing content such as blogs, news features, employees' profiles, white papers, downloadable brochures, and even nowadays, with technology, the way that the platforms are constantly reinventing themselves, you can book meetings and get people to book onto events. So again, this comes back to the client retention thing and increase brand recognition, because you want to build a database. Every business should want to build a database. And also, by getting people onto your website, you've got better conversion rates because they're going further down the sales channel. Social media supports this. Right, number 6, this is one of my favorite ones. So you get to be creative, and this taps into my background with the graphic design and website building. Social media channels are always changing, with new features being added on established apps like we talked about with the meetings that you can now book onto and the events, and entirely new platforms being created altogether. Snapchat, for example, that's probably one of the most famous new ones. With constant experimentations and updates, the social media scene offers a place of opportunity for your business to test different marketing strategies to see what works best. And as social media activity usually gives demonstrable responses in the forms of likes, shares, comments, you will soon see the results of any experiment and know where to focus your marketing efforts going forward. So here, just simple things like you can test the tone of voice. Do you need to be really, really super friendly, or do you need to be super professional? So you can see what works for your audience. And then your branding, do you cut out above your competitors? Does it work well? Does it look good on screen, etc., etc.? And then the different mediums, which I know Tom's coming on in a bit about video, and it's an amazing presentation. But there's different mediums. There's GIFs, there's 3D photos, there's videos. Try it all, see what your audience likes. And what goes on to this is then you can measure the customer engagement as a result of trying those strategies. So for companies using social media can quickly assess customer engagement, that was hard to say, within an hour of posting content to your social platform. You will have a good idea if it's resonating. If not, you can remove it and do some tweaking, which I don't recommend you do. Personally, I would leave it up and tweak it and make the changes where you need to. Or if it's proven popular, boost the post with paid for advertising to maximize on that reach. Do not underestimate the importance of customer engagement. I'd rather have less followers who are highly engaged than loads of followers who are completely disinterested. So probably because this is my job and it's a little bit weird, but something I do is when someone says, oh, my competitors, they've got 20,000 followers, or this influencer has got 30,000 followers, it's interesting to go on and actually see who's engaging with, or how many people are engaging with their posts. You can't see the full facts because they can, because they're the insights. But generally, as a rule, it's all a bit smoke screens and mirrors. Not all that glitters is gold, and etc., and every other quote you can think of. You know, it is definitely, the engagement rate is way more important than the number at the top of accounts. And then I'm a really data-driven marketer. I think these days you can't get away from it, and everybody needs to start getting used to this, or really familiarize themselves with it as well, because social media benefits from having the feature of real-time insights and analytical data. As we discussed, you can measure content performance at any time and make the necessary adjustments. But the data also shows who, when, and how people are engaging with your content. So, for example, you can see how many people clicked on what within the post, so the links, picture, or read more. You can delve into critical insight to fine-tune your strategy, like using the average times a day when your followers are on Instagram, so you time your posts to go out at that time of day. Your impression and reach, so you see which content is working against what, going back to that, you know, the customer engagement and retention and testing it all. And then other things are follower demographic, so you tailor your content towards that demographic. You know, if it's female, a bit more feminine; if it's male, a bit more blunt to the point. And how people found your post, location tagging, hashtagging, or from their own feeds. Again, so that you can just do more of what's working and less. Don't save your resources and do less of what's not working. But also on all platforms, you can see who's following you. Now, in particular, this is really key on LinkedIn, and it's a brilliant tool. So I always get a lot of people saying to me, LinkedIn doesn't work for my business. The way to really judge this is to go on and have a look at your followers, because on LinkedIn, you can see what their jobs are. You can see what they're doing. So particularly if you're B2B, it's really critical, but also B2C, because you kind of understand your audience a bit more. If the people that are following you aren't your target audience, you're doing something completely wrong, and you need to relook at your strategy. If they are the people you're trying to talk to, and then you just need to tweak your strategy. You just need to make sure that your content is a bit better. And then, I'm not an advocate that you go out there social media stalking. Okay, so it's not about that. What it is about is watching your competitors' activities. Not only keeps you up to speed with what you're doing, but could also provide extra insight into your industry advancement. With that kind of knowledge at hand, you can compare your competitors' business actions to yours and use that knowledge to improve your business strategies to stay ahead of the curve. Also, you don't need to keep reinventing the wheel. If your competitor is doing something really great on social media, then look into how you can do the same, but much better. You know, with the world being so connected these days, it's really hard to come up with original content. But what we can do is let your competitor do the hard work, try the channels, try different content, try different tones of voice, etc., etc. You take the learning from that and just come back and do it much better. And last but not least, my absolute number one reason as to why you should be using social media if you're a business, and it doesn't matter what business you are, you should be using social media in your marketing strategy, purely because it's inexpensive marketing tools. Social media is good for businesses because the effect on your bottom line is apparent. It's free to join, free for you to use, free for you to gain an audience, free insight into customer behavior, and free market intelligence. Most social media platforms are low-cost solutions to very sophisticated advertising as well. So, for example, if you look at Facebook, you can select the demographics. So if your target audience is, say, a woman between the ages of 24 and 40, living in Ipswich with an interest in kayaking, that's exactly who you select to see your ads, making the opportunity for a return on investment really high. So, to summarize, there are many intangible and tangible reasons why social media is a key marketing tool for your business, particularly through these challenging times. Have patience with it. There are silver bullets, and it won't always give you direct results. Just because you put a post out, you won't always see a sale as a result of it. It's like an onion, lots of layers to it. Make sure you keep testing different strategies and keep an eye on the insights to keep you on the right path. But last but not least, have fun and keep interacting, because it's called social media for a good reason. So thank you for watching, everybody, and please do get in touch if you have any questions. Happy to help.